Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be talking about Asta's final form in Black Clover, and what I believe could be the ultimate evolution of his anti-magic. I think that anti-magic is just the first stage of Asta's true power. And I believe that anti-magic is about to evolve into black hole magic. In this video, I will explain why I believe that Asta's anti-magic will ultimately evolve into black hole magic, and I will also explain what types of powers and abilities black hole magic could possess. Finally, I will take a look at some other popular theories about Asta's final form and ultimate power, along with a special guest, so let's get into it. If you guys enjoy our Black Clover videos and you want to see more, you know what to do. Just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a quick favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Finally, this video will contain Black Clover manga spoilers. I am using all available information from the manga, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. For a long time, I've been intrigued by the star symbolism and imagery that frequently comes up in Black Clover, especially when it comes to Asta. To name just a few examples, the word Asta means divine or star-like in certain languages. Asta has a star-like shape on his headband. And of course, Asta's Devil Union form contains a bunch of star-shaped imagery. There is a star symbol in his eye, there is a star-like symbol on his chest, and so on. So, naturally, a lot of fans were speculating that maybe Asta will eventually unlock some sort of star magic. Perhaps star magic is his original magic, which just didn't awaken yet for whatever reason. A fellow anime YouTuber by the name of Broku actually made a full video on this a while back. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video because I will be bringing Broku in as a guest to give us his thoughts on Asta's final form and ultimate magic power. Now, this idea that Asta might have star magic was thrown for a major loop when it was revealed in chapter 309 that star magic is actually Yuno's original magic. The wind magic that Yuno had been using up to this point actually belonged to Licht and Tetia's son, who had been reincarnated inside of him. But when Yuno came across the grimoire that had been originally intended for him within his native Spade Kingdom, he unlocked a second magic attribute, star magic. And obviously, if Yuno now has star magic, then Tabata is not going to give that same magic attribute to Asta, right? Well, yes, and also no. Let me explain. I believe that Asta and Liebe's anti-magic will eventually evolve into none other than black hole magic. As I said earlier, I think that black hole magic is the ultimate incarnation, the final form, if you will, of anti-magic. If we consider the known properties of a black hole, then black hole magic instantly becomes the ultimate evolution of anti-magic. It is the only logical conclusion. Now, believe it or not, I am not an astrophysicist, and even among the foremost experts on astrophysics and quantum mechanics, there is still major disagreement about black holes. No one's ever been close enough to study one before, so a lot of what we know is completely theoretical. Thankfully, Black Clover is a series about magic, so we don't need to worry too much about scientific accuracy. All we need to think about is how the concept of a black hole might be used by Tabata to create an overpowered magic evolution for Asta. A black hole is a region of space-time where the gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. Black holes can absorb everything around them, including massive objects like stars. And they warp and alter literally everything in the immediate area, including gravity, space, and even time. It's almost like black hole magic would be the ultimate weapon to use against devils who possess gravity magic, spatial magic, and time magic. And how is a black hole formed in the first place? Black holes are said to form when massive stars collapse at the end of their life cycle. After a black hole forms, it can continue to grow by absorbing mass from its surrounding area. So, in reality, black hole magic would be a type of star magic. black holes are formed from stars, or at least what's left of stars after they reach the end of their life cycle and collapse. Yuno may be the one who possesses star magic, but his rival Asta, his counterpart in the story, could possess the dark counterpart of star magic, which is black hole magic. This would explain all of the star symbolism and imagery when it comes to Asta, and it would answer a lot of other questions as well. For example, we've been led to believe that Liebe is one of the lowest ranked devils. Apparently, he was born without any magic, and because of this, he was brutally mistreated by the other devils in the underworld. However, his appearance and intelligence don't seem to correspond to the appearance and intelligence of lowest ranked devils. Lower ranked devils tend to have an appearance that is more animalistic and beast-like. And with the lowest ranked devils in particular, this seems to extend to their behavior and intelligence as well. Meanwhile, highest ranked devils are more humanoid and more intelligent. It's clear that Liebe's appearance and intelligence are far closer to high and highest ranked devils than low and mid-ranked devils. And then there's anti-magic. After being sealed away inside the 5-leaf grimoire, Liebe awakens anti-magic, which is not only strong against regular magic attributes, but it is also super effective against devils. It's safe to say that a lowest ranked devil would never be able to muster up the power to take out a highest ranked devil like Lilith and Nama. And yet, thanks to anti-magic, Liebe and Asta were able to do exactly that. Broku did an entire video talking about why Liebe is likely either a high or highest ranked devil based on his appearance and abilities. And I will link that video down in the description below. It is very interesting and makes a lot of sense. It is highly unlikely that Liebe is really a lowest ranked devil based on what we know about devils so far. But if he really is a higher ranked devil, then why was he born without any magic? Well, what if he wasn't really born without magic? What if he was born with one of the most overpowered magic attributes of all, black hole magic? But because of the complex nature of this magic attribute, it takes a long time to fully manifest. What if anti-magic as we know it is just the first step on the road to awakening black hole magic? A magic attribute that can not only negate the magic of others, but also absorb all of it like a black hole. As we know, a black hole absorbs everything around it, including entire stars, including light, and everything else. And it turns all that it absorbs into a gravitational singularity, which is a region where the space-time curvature becomes infinite. Everything that gets close enough to a black hole is pulled into the singularity and crushed to infinite density. And if that wasn't enough, black holes have also been associated with the possibility of traveling in time. According to some theories, if we could travel close enough to a black hole, time would actually slow down, enabling us to travel into the future. The idea is that if a spaceship was circling around a black hole, time would slow down for the spaceship while it continues passing at a normal rate for everyone who isn't near the black hole. So, once the spaceship decides to pull away from the black hole and return to where it came from, it will literally find itself in the future. On top of that, several physicists have suggested that black holes do not possess a true mathematical singularity, but rather they possess a region of chaotic space in which time does not exist. So, time-related powers, or the negation of time-related powers, as well as potentially speeding up, slowing down, or even stopping time altogether could all be possible in some form with black hole magic. Now, just imagine the final battle in the entire Black Clover series. Imagine Asta and all of his friends and allies standing against the strongest villain or villains that they've ever encountered. Imagine the gravity, spatial, and time magic devils dominating the battle against Asta and our heroes. With perhaps the time magic devil using some insane form of time magic that no one can counter. But then, Asta awakens black hole magic. He is able to absorb the magic of all of his allies, including of course Yuno's star magic, and he condenses them all into an infinitely powerful singularity. Lucifer, Beelzebub, and the Time Devil try to stop Asta's attack. But because a black hole warps gravity, space, and time, their attacks are ineffective. Finally, Asta unleashes this infinite singularity made up of all the different absorbed magic types at the villains and absolutely wipes them out of existence. Game over. Man, that would be absolutely crazy, and I can't wait to see how it's all going to go down. If you guys enjoyed this theory, definitely leave a like and also leave your thoughts and feedback on the theory down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more content like this, and now it's time to bring in our special guest. And now, joining me is fellow anime YouTuber and Black Clover theorist, Broku. Broku, welcome. Pleasure to have you.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on. Very much appreciated. Been loving the channel for years, so very excited to come on. And great video idea as well. So excited for that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, pleasure to have you guys. Check out Broku's channel. Link will be in the description. Tons of Black Clover content, tons of theories, really great stuff. So, your thoughts on this black hole magic theory, Broku?
So I actually think that it's a good idea and something that I never really thought about. And you brought up the good points of how it would go against the three top devils. And just immediately going off of that is one thing that's interesting about the anti-magic is that it can't really be sensed by other characters, which would also be like the science behind black holes in our world, because generally you can't really see them or sense them. We only know that they're there based on how they affect the world around them. And that's how you can kind of see anti-magic, is that you can see that it's affecting the anti-magic in the physical world. So that would be a really cool parallel from anti-magic to gravity or black holes.
Yeah, and I mentioned this in the video as well. A lot of stuff about black holes that we do know is theoretical, even among the scientific community. So some scientists might think that, in the middle of a black hole, there's a wormhole, whereas others might think, oh, it's just, infinite mass. There's still disagreement, but that's what makes it interesting. And of course, because Black Clover is about magic, it's not going to be scientifically accurate. If there is a black hole magic, it's just going to be kind of inspired by the properties of a black hole and then taken into that fantastical sphere.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of different theories on like the origins of the anti-magic and how Liebe got it. And if it is black hole magic or related to it, it would partially make sense depending on if Liebe, Asta's mom, she absorbed some of Lucifero's mana, so that might be how Liebe got this power awakened. Maybe the combination of him cursing inside the grimoire, and then when Liebe sealed him inside the grimoire, she also maybe gifted some of the power to him as well, because we know that black holes are super closely related to gravity.
Yeah, gravity and absorption, because that's what black holes do, right? Yep. Like they have super dense gravity and they absorb everything around them. So Lichita's absorption compared to Lucifero's gravity. Yeah, I didn't think of that specifically in that sense, but that actually makes sense when you think about it. And actually, the way I came across this black hole idea is I saw it earlier. You made a while ago that video about Asta potentially having star magic because of all the star symbolism, right? The star symbolism in his eye, the star symbolism in the Devil Union mode. But then it turned out that Yuno has star magic. That turned out to be his original magic. So my thinking was, oh man, so then there's no way Asta can have star magic. They're not gonna make two rivals have the same type of magic. But then I was thinking, wait, a black hole is a collapsed star. So it's almost like the anti-star magic, or like the dark version of star magic, and Asta with his anti-magic and being the rival of Yuno, it kind of started to make sense, and that's how the theory took shape. And your work and your videos definitely had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, so I think that the black hole, that would be Asta and Liebe's power, it seems like it factually makes sense, and then also thematically as well, because also, they always parallel each other, and they're also dynamics to each other as well, or the opposites or the shadows of each other. So, having the bright star magic and Asta having black holes, or just like what you just said, it would kind of be like the parallel, but also the shadow or the opposite of as well, because black holes are essentially collapsed stars.
Yes, and I think with obviously Asta and Yuno are both good guys, but their kind of abilities and their origins mirror each other in a sort of kind of comparative way, where Yuno was born with amazing magic and loved by mana. Asta had no magic at all, and yet they maintained their rivalry and friendship. So that was kind of the charm of it. And Yuno having star magic and Asta having black hole magic would really go along with that theme.
Yeah, it goes perfectly. That actually makes me really excited for the upcoming chapters and seeing if maybe we'll get more information on anti-magic, seeing as Lucifero might be coming out.
And because I can't see Asta just anti-magic crushing every single strongest devil. So far, he's been really effective with anti-magic against Zagred, against Lilith and Nama, but I feel like something different has to happen in order for him to be able to take on all the strongest devils. It's not just gonna be like, oh well, here, I'm gonna kick your ass with anti-magic. And having anti-magic evolve into something bigger like black hole magic, I think would be a cool narrative way to take the battles up a notch.
Definitely, and it would also just make sense stemming off of his Yuki Tabata's previous manga, Hungry Joker, and how all like the physics-based stuff he did in there, and then to bring in Black Hole and be that to be Asta's magic would be a really cool callback to Hungry Joker as well, which he has actually a lot of callbacks to that series in Black Clover itself.
Yeah, Hungry Joker was actually canceled early on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he then ended up referencing Hungry Joker many times in Black Clover in cool ways that if you really follow everything as I know you do on your channel, then you know all those different little references and things like that. I'm really glad you like the theory, Broku, because as I said, you are an expert theorist on Black Clover, so it's really cool to see you enjoying this theory. Any other theories you have or speculations in general about what Asta's final form could look like, what kind of powers he might possess?
Yeah, so after you kind of give me your idea, I wanted to try and think of it, because after Devil Union, I really haven't thought about much advancements of like what his final form would be, but I tried to think, I don't know if you've heard of the theory that Asta might be a devil hybrid. So there's actually a lot of evidence that supports it as a possibility, and I think that if that is the case, it'd be something like where with Charmy, where it would be like his hybrid state, where Charmy's like in a normal state and then she transforms into her like hybrid like human dwarf state. It'd be similar with Asta, where he actually has like a transformation that would pair that with Union. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to Union, except the like more armor and then maybe 4 wings instead of 2, and then maybe even 6 horns, like an evolution of the Union. And then I also have a theory with that, kind of like how just awakened his own power with which is star magic, that I think Asta's going to do the same thing, but in a different way, where he uses Ki to further like evolve his powers. I don't know if you have seen Bleach or read Bleach, but I think it could be similar to Asta uses Ki in a similar fashion to Fullbring, because there's a lot of evidence that Ki can amplify power. We've seen it multiple times, and then we've seen if you lose Ki, if you lose life energy, your like body withers. So if you can bring in more Ki, your body would theoretically get stronger, and he can use Ki to like amplify the power of his anti-magic. That's how he even discovered to use the black form. I think it will be something like a combination of that, where he will have his hybrid state awakened, and then he will use Ki in a brand new sense, like maybe if they ever go to the land of the sun and he learns it way better than he does now, then I think that it'll be a combination of those two, where maybe he brings in more Ki, which amplifies his muscles, and maybe he's even more buff, which would be insane. And then the Ki actually amplifying his anti-magic even further, making it even bigger, like more armor, making the swords even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting, because Ki has been emphasized as something that only Asta and Yami can really sense and make use of in any way. So I feel like that's something that's definitely going to come back in the future, because it hasn't been explored a lot yet. It's just been kind of brought to our attention. And I also like the whole hybrid concept, because I know you mentioned in one of your videos that there has to be some reason why Asta was able to survive being in Lishita's womb for 9 months, whereas a normal human being around her would have their life force drained. And one thing you mentioned is that we know from Liebe that a devil will not have their life force drained by Lishita. So if Asta was some sort of hybrid, if his father was actually a devil, then perhaps that is why he survived being in the womb for 9 months, because his life force wasn't being drained, because he was resistant to it, kind of like Liebe was, because of the devil hybrid theory, right?
Yeah, it's exactly that. Zagred is really confused that Asta, this human, is running around with a 5-leaf clover grimoire, because he knows that those are meant for devils, which if he's a devil hybrid, would kind of add to that. And also the fact that while in Devil Union, even though Liebe only has 2 horns, when they're united, they have 4 horns.
Yeah, so it's almost like Liebe himself is not the only one transforming here. Asta is bringing something devil-ish to the table, potentially, as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as a possibility, because even when they were in Union and it showed Liebe's like silhouette when they were fighting the ancient demon, he still had 2 horns even while they were in the Union, but Asta had 4.
For sure. I mean, it really feels like the story is gearing up towards an epic climax. We still have a lot of the big devils to be introduced properly, like Lucifer, like Beelzebub, like the Time Devil. So there's still time to go, but it does feel like we're gearing up towards some sort of final showdown. So it's going to be really interesting to see where the story goes from here. And yeah, like you said, Devil Union mode is the current hot thing, the current power-up. But I feel like it can't be the final power-up just because there's still so much to do against so many overpowered devils.
Yeah, like, if he had any trouble at all against Lilith and Nama, then it's not going to go well against devils higher than that, because you'd assume that between each gate is a massive power difference. And it's kind of shown because Megicula is not even in the top 3, and she was only like 1/3 manifested.
Yes.
And yet she showed power, like, it was like at least on par with the fused twins, Lilith and Nama. Yeah. So there's got to be a huge gap between each gate, and if he struggled at all against them, then yeah, Devil Union itself, unless if he gets massive help, it's not going to be enough to take on higher devils, let alone the big 3 devils.
Yeah, because one thing I was thinking when Devil Union was introduced was, okay, it has a time limit, so maybe just that time limit will increase, but I don't think that's going to be enough at this point. It just doesn't seem like that's going to be enough, especially with the Time Devil. The Time Devil really scares me because time-based powers and an overpowered devil, it seems super, super crazy. And I mean, you know, there's so much potential there. Stopping time, slowing down time, speeding up time, traveling through time. There's just so much there. And again, that brings me back to the whole black hole idea, because black holes can also warp time. Potentially, that's going to make Asta resistant to the Time Devil and allow him to somehow defeat the Time Devil.
Yeah, that would make sense, because you can already assume that before awakening the black hole power, that he would be a huge weakness to time, because like in theory, time would have like the magical effect, but also the physical effect, like how when Asta was on the magic volcano, he was able to easily redirect the fire magic, but the actual physical heat that the fire emanated was a problem for him. And same with the salamander, that he could attack its fire, but the heat that was the physical heat emanated was a problem. So he could probably cut the time magic, but the physical time manipulation that happens would be an issue. But if he awakened the black hole power, and he could counter that with a black hole, that would be a very interesting clash and a way for him to actually counteract Time Devil, which I would assume it would probably be called Astaroth with the way that Tabata is writing things.
You know, that's a great point about the whole kind of idea of Asta can counter magic, but time is a concept. So while if he throws like some kind of time magical attack directly at Asta, he can counter it. But if he actually stops time itself, or like travels through time, or speeds it up or slows it down, it will be very difficult for anti-magic to counter it, because it's a concept. It's not like a energy force. I'm super excited to see what happens. Broku, thank you so much for being a guest on the video. Guys, check out Broku's channel, link in the description. Tons of Black Clover content. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons who make videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma. This man is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Ingrata, Aljatal, Pate Hefa, The Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, The Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, The Spike, Dylan Isidore, Spidey Leftanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Monkey D. Quilly, Cody Hebert, and Jeremy Cummings. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Very Gucci, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Jessica Rabbit, and Jeremy Phillips. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single $1 will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these legendary people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!